Just a heads up to you folks sitting with a notebook and pen, Mishki, the new podcast here in Garage Logic Land, is now coming out twice a week, Wednesdays and Fridays. If you're in fact scribbling this down, Wednesday is kind of tough to spell. It's not like it sounds. You want to spell it W-E-N-Z, but that, of course, would be a mistake. Friday is spelled just like it sounds. You're going to be okay there, but Wednesday's a bugaboo. Let me tell you, people, just a pain in the patootie. Jeez, it's hard.
What can 160 years of experience teach you about the future? When it comes to protecting what matters, Pacific Life provides life insurance, retirement income, and employee benefits for people and businesses building a more confident tomorrow. Strategies rooted in strength and backed by experience. Ask a financial professional how Pacific Life can help you today. Pacific Life Insurance Company, Omaha, Nebraska, and in New York. Pacific Life and Annuity, Phoenix, Arizona.
This is the Weekly Scramble, a place where we chat about life over a cold one or two. It's time to belly up to the pod with Mike Fratelloni and your host, Chris Reavers.
That's right. It's time for the Weekly Scramble podcast. My name is Chris Reavers. With me, as always, his name is Mike Fratelloni. Hello, Michael.
A happy pre-Thanksgiving Eve.
Yeah. So for those of you listening, we are actually recording this show on Wednesday morning because of course, my favorite holiday of the entire calendar year is Thanksgiving.
It's great.
Food.
No
family,
gifts. You don't have
football,
to buy a bunch of crap.
Don't have to buy a bunch of crap. I got to say this, though. So, again, this is Wednesday morning. I do have to make a stop on my way home.
You're not going to Costco or Cub or some. What grocery store do you have to go to?
I'm actually going to Hy-Vee, and I love me some Hy-Vee.
Sure,
even though I did
place.
rip them a little bit over the weekend because of something else, but it's all good. Because I love Hy-Vee. It's my favorite grocery store. I got to make a stop because I forgot like 2 things.
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding, and that's the thing. I think because I know the store and the layout very, very well, and I always use self-checkout, right? Because I'm in and I'm out.
Boom.
I think I can master that stop in less than 15 minutes.
But what you're forgetting and what you're screwed with is that we had the first tsunami of Minnesota yesterday into this morning. So you're going to drive an hour to get to this place. It's going to take you an hour and then another 30 minutes to get home.
Well, the thing is, by the time I get done wrapped up here and actually get on the road, it'll probably be close to 5 or 6 anyway.
Okay.
So by the time I get to the store, pretty much everyone will have already stopped by. Because the other thing I can do is just go to my Rademacher's location too. But there's something specific that I need because I'm hosting tomorrow.
Well, let me ask you this. When you get to a Hy-Vee, do you walk up to the We Are Nuts display? Did I just on-ramp you right into a We Are Nuts ad?
Look at you. We Are Nuts and wearenutsmn.com.
Right? Don't they have them at Hy-Vee?
You know what? That's a good question.
If they don't have them at Hy-Vee, walk into Hy-Vee and politely say, "Are you nuts?"
I'm going to say, "Hey, where are the nuts at?"
There you go.
I've heard about this all. You know what? That's exactly what I'm going to do.
that.
Because the consumer doesn't realize just how much power that they have.
It's incredibly powerful. All you'd have to do is ask a few times. I'm a retailer.
Yeah.
If someone asks for something 3 times for me, I'd think if 3 people ask, that means hundreds of them want it.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely. But they are available at all of your Cub Foods locations, Lunds and Byerly's, Kowalski's Markets, Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores locations, and also now available at Quick Trip. I did stop by and picked up some cinnamon toffee peanuts. So
Nice.
I have those stocked up for the boys because, okay, first of all, Jim, he was in here the other day. We were doing our show, so I didn't get a chance to talk to him. Mm-hmm. Best salesman ever. We're out the state fair.
Jeff.
No. Jim Burt, the owner.
Oh, Jim Burt. Okay, he was in here. Okay, I didn't know that.
So
Okay.
so we were at the state fair, and he looked at my 2 boys. He said, "Do you 2 like Cinnamon Toast Crunch?" Well, yeah, it's my favorite cereal. Yeah. So he dumped a little bit in their hand, and they both ate it. Like, oh my God! And then, of courst, my youngest ate the rest of that jar like he was a homeless person.
He's the only guy at the state fair that can turn to a set of boys and say, "I want to give you some nuts," and not be instantaneously arrested.
Right. But that's the thing. So it's a wonderful gift. You know what? Get the 4-pack and bring it to your next holiday gathering. But
tomorrow,
like I said,
you buy it today. Take it tomorrow to think.
Bingo.
Don't bring a crappy bottle of wine.
No.
Bring We Are Nuts.
And like I said, you can visit them online at wearenutsmn.com. All right. I don't want to talk about traffic and how nobody knows how to drive in inclement weather anymore, but I do want to. I'm glad you sent me this story this morning because I saw the headline, Michael, and I also saw the public outrage on social media. And it's one of those stories that you just scream, are you bleeping serious?
How can this happen and not being taken care of quickly?
Do you want to take the lead on this one?
It's an article that describes how a Minnesota man, Daniel Clover, how do you pronounce that? Kluver, Clover, had his identity stolen. It's a New York Times piece.
Which, by the way, I'm starting to get really irritated when I see Minnesota man.
A Minnesota man.
I don't know why that just bugs me, but
okay,
it does.
well, this is a guy who lives in Minnesota.
Sure.
He had his identity stolen from this guy. The New York Times runs through all of the trials and tribulation that Daniel has to go through. He's literally has someone in a different state, multiple states, using his Social Security number, so the IRS is on his ass for years. He's paying penalties to the IRS. Finally had to do I can do a payment plan, and he's saying, I never worked in Missouri. I work in this sugar processing fields out by Marshall, Minnesota. I've never even been to there. And some magical way, the IRS says, I'm sorry, your Social Security number says you have all of this income coming in, right?
Reported income, yeah, for sure. Yep.
It was so bad that 1 year, the illegal alien, because it was a legal alien that stole his identity, actually made more than he made working in Minnesota legally, right?
It's just...
it goes through all of the trials and tribulations. But the biggest thing about this New York Times article is that it emphasizes that both men paid a price, saying that Culver, through years of financial and emotional fallout, and Perez Bravo, the gentleman, the illegal alien that stole his identity, through arrest, detention, and potentially imprisonment and removal, both paid somewhat of an equal price. No, they didn't.
No, they did not.
Someone had their identity stolen. They're forced to pay. At one point in time, he was $21,000 behind in IRS taxes. You can go to jail for not paying taxes. Finally, common sense prevailed, and they said, wait, time out. This isn't you. We're going to stop this. We're going to refund these payments. We're going to do all this stuff. We understand that you did not do the job while you were working a full-time job in Minnesota,
because you would think
Missouri.
That it would be pretty easy to prove that it's probably unlikely that you're able to have a working full-time job in two different states at the same time.
And this guy was kind of a job jumper. He'd go around to where the work was, the illegal immigrant that stole the ID, right? They said, you know how many times this happens? How many people this happens to each year in the United States?
This is going to make me very angry, isn't it?
More than 1 million people.
Are you freaking kidding me?
1 million people. That is a lot of people that have their identity stolen, that someone's earning income based on their, here's one thing that I thought, right? I think Daniel should have done, what he should have done is he should have found out that he was getting charged from this hide place. It was a leather hide place that this guy was working at. He should have called up and said, could you change my deductions to 0, right? So he would have had this illegal immigrant working for him in a different state. They would have had all these taxes, not change it to 0, change it so they take out all of his money in his taxes. Then Daniel would have gotten money back at the end of the year in a tax rebate, because the illegal immigrant would have paid too much in taxes. Right? He would have paid too much. And if you can call up, you can say, hey, if you're going to make me pay the taxes on this, withhold as much taxes as you possibly can. Right? So Daniel would have actually benefited tax-wise.
Better idea.
Yeah.
He should have called Linda Keller and KellerTaxService.com.
That's right.
That's
and had her get into the IRS.
But, okay, as someone have you ever had your identity stolen?
No.
I have.
It's a problem.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And mine wasn't terribly bad. It was basically someone that got a hold of my credit card. Well, I'll tell the story. It was one of the years that we were out in San Diego, and I went to go get my haircut. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, so because she and the boys were staying with the hotel we're staying at, they wanted to go swim. I go, I'm just going to run down and go get my haircut quick. Mm-hmm. And it was a chain that every one of us knows, sure. And I've never had an issue with this chain, locally, nationally, whatever. And when I got my haircut, and when it came time to come pay, the gal said, hey, our credit card machines are not working. I need to write your credit card number down. And I went,
wait, what?
I said, I don't know if I like that idea. She's like, well, do you have cash? And I didn't have any cash on me.
Sure.
And I wish I had. So then I went, well, okay. So she wrote down my credit card number. And then, I'm not joking, within the next week, I'm saying, I didn't buy this on Amazon.
Yeah.
I didn't. And I went, it was that gal that cut my hair. Anyway, whatever. But
you don't know that, but that's what you assume.
I mean, it would be hard. There's too many dots that would have been connected for that not to have been the case. But I'm just making an educated guess. Anyway, but the banks and whatever, this is again before I was working with North American Banking Company. The banks that I was dealing with, they were very helpful, and they did, but it was just the pain of everything. Whereas cancel these cards, you gotta deal with this, and then you gotta file that paperwork, and it's a freaking nightmare. And why this bugs me, and the fact that you said that there's a million people that are pulling off this scam, for anyone to spend a second having sympathy for that particular person, you are also part of the problem.
That's a problem, right? I think I might have had my identity stolen once. In fact, I'm pretty sure because my wife and I were staying at a hotel, and I went to check out, and they said, "Hey, you have a couple extra videos purchased." And I said, "That was not me. What were the titles?" And one was Catholic Schoolgirls in Trouble, which I'm like, I've never even seen that. Is that with Joe Pesci? And my wife was like, I'm 90% sure it was not me. That was a good joke.
That wasn't bad.
That was not. I couldn't say what I was going to say. The other title of the movie.
Is that still an option these days?
I don't know. But don't pretend to tell me you didn't see On Golden Blonde in the hotel room in Pierre, South Dakota.
I gotta be. Boy, that's oddly specific.
I couldn't think of it.
I gotta be honest. I me. I'm not a prude. I don't think I've ever done that.
You know what, Reavers? There are still stores that you can go into and buy magazines, like dirty magazines. And then I have to look at those guys and say, you just want to be out in public. No, having people know you're a weirdo, a perv.
I had no idea we were going down this road, but that's fine. No, listen. So a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
No. So how do I phrase this? Well, I'll name the town. We were in hated Owatonna.
Yeah.
My son had a football game in Waterville, and then my nephew had a game in Owatonna. So we were gonna, after his game, my mom said, "Hey, let's take the boys out for wings." I said, "Sure." And I remember we stopped in Owatonna, the Buffalo Wild Wings in Owatonna. Well, not right next to it, but a block away is one of those stores. It's right off 35, right off the freeway. And I remember looking at that store as I was getting back into my car thinking, do these people not understand that the internet is also available?
Don't you want a tad bit of privacy during that thing? I went into Sex World one time in downtown Minneapolis. Remember Sex World? I think it's closed now.
Sure.
And I was just it was late night, and we were just walking around Sex World, me and a bunch of people. And one thing that I thought was brilliant is if you get caught stealing at Sex World, they take a Polaroid photo of you.
No.
With your business card stapled to it, holding up what you stole, and they post it behind the counter.
You're kidding me.
No, which is, I'm like, that's worse than getting caught. That's worse than having the police come and give you a ticket for $40, right? I thought that was brilliant. But I'm standing there, and I'm standing next to this glass case, and there's like this mannequin in the glass case, and then all of a sudden I realize that it is an adult woman sitting in the foyer, in the entranceway of Sex World, in a glass display case, like 2 feet wide, 6 feet long, all encased in glass. And I was like, how are you breathing in there? Like, I didn't get that she was on display.
Wow.
And, now that I say that, I was kind of drunk. So maybe it was a mannequin. And maybe I just never have gotten... I consider myself a pretty progressive lover, Reavers.
Okay.
I'll do and kind of... I'm up for anything a couple of times.
All right.
Going to a bookstore to buy a dirty book is so far down on my list of something that would turn me on.
I remember going in there one time. There was a group of us, and I think... we went, this is back when the Dome was still here. We went to a Gopher football game. And there was like 4 of us couples, right? And we went to a Gopher football game, and then we kind of bar hopped a little bit. And then someone said, we should go in a Sex World.
Sure.
I went, yeah, we should.
That's how it happens.
And
right?
I thought, what are we doing in here? Like, what? I just remember saying,
a Golden Gopher lost to Bowling Green probably made you real randy. You're like, damn.
No, I think... I can't remember. I think it might have been they played Ohio State, and they did get crushed.
It was 69-0. You're like, 69?
We should go to
Sex World.
Okay, how did we get there from the guy that got his identity stolen?
I don't know, but to wrap that story up, shame on you, New York Times, for conflating and putting together this guy that got his his identity stolen, and this Perez Bravo who did the stealing of the identity, this guy went through IRS hell. And by the way, you don't want to mess with the IRS, right? They don't give a shit that your identity got stolen.
No.
You're paying the taxes because they've heard it all, right? So this poor guy in Minnesota is getting ground down by the IRS, and New York Times says, we really have 2 victims here. That's not the same thing. You can't be a victim when you're the thief.
No, and that's just it. And it's this entire movement of having, these are our neighbors. No, these are people that are I can't take this stuff anymore. Whether it's food fraud, we talked about this the other day. The fact that this progressive woke judge decided to let this guy off who stole $7 million in taxpayer money.
Something's weird about that story.
I just don't get it.
Something's weird about
that. At what point did you, and I'm talking to this judge specifically, or people that have sympathy for this guy, at what point did your brain not develop to say, no, that's wrong?
Yeah, something's weird. That's so weird, though.
But that is exactly why we have been ripe for the picking here in Minnesota. Yep. Because we are, he's just trying. No, that's illegal.
It's illegal. Let's start with the illegality of it. And I
didn't want to get all worked up today.
You and I go on vacation to Mexico, and we say, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to do our show from down here. And we're going to just work here. I'm going to get a job at the 7-Eleven. You're going to do the podcast. And we're just going to live there forever. You can't do that in Mexico. They don't allow that to happen.
Right.
You would be arrested.
Yep.
And you'd be deported instantaneously. Why do we have a different set of rules? You know why?
It's a joke.
I talked about it on the last show. Because we take $500 from one guy and give it to 5 people $100 each to buy 5 votes. And that's exactly what one side of the aisle wants to do. They want to get enough people in on the government dole that say, I have to vote for the government. The government's the one paying for my existence.
Exactly. His name is Mike Fratelloni. My name is Chris Reavers. This is the Weekly Scramble Podcast, and we will be right back.
Football season is going hot and heavy, and Underdog is the best place to get into the game and get in on all the action. Best part of Underdog? How easy it is to play. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like rushing yards, receptions, touchdowns, and lots more. Get your picks right, and you could win up to 5,000 times your cash. This week on Underdog, I'm looking at Josh Jacobs, picking him to go higher for touchdowns, and it seems like Matthew Stafford is always a good pick to go higher on passing yards. Download the app today, sign up with the promo code GARAGE to score $100 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code GARAGE. Underdog, make picks, win money.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
Fast breaks, buzzer beaters, block parties, they're all back, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action. Whether you're into basketball, football, hockey, or any sport in between, Underdog is the best place to play, and playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite player will go higher or lower on stats like points, rebounds, and many more. Get your picks right, you could win up to 5,000 times your money. Austin Reeves, I've been picking him a lot this year. He's been good at everything. Points, assists, you name it. So I'll be looking at Austin Reeves to go higher in points and assists. Download the app today and use promo code GARAGE to score $100 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code GARAGE. Underdog. Make picks, win money.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
So we were talking about the fraud and everything else in the previous segment. Have you watched some of these social media posts from your guy Zoran Mamdani?
No, are they
in New
good?
York? He's not even. Keep in mind, he's not even in office yet, right? And he basically built this campaign on, hey, come here, everything's going to be free. The buses are going to be free.
Government grocery stores.
We're going to invest into public health. He's already begging for money. Basically saying, yeah, all that crap I promised, none of that's going to happen.
Really?
It's comical to the point of sadness because it's almost like every single one of us said, well, this isn't going to happen. There's no way he can do that. I mean, companies are going to leave that city. They're going to flee because of what they're going to charge.
And the rich, when you charge another 2%, right? It's going from like 3% to 5% of their total earnings go to a city tax in New York City. Yeah. They're not going to do that.
No.
People are not going to, or making $10 million a year, want to pay another $200,000 in taxes to the city. They're never going to want to do that.
And I was going to mention that I should have sent this to you and I forgot to, but our guy, Nick Halter from Axios Twin Cities, he was on Fox 9 yesterday morning, basically citing the fact that the downtowns their vacancy rates are just astronomical, right? Did you see the property tax increase for the city of Corcoran? Do you know where Corcoran, Minnesota is?
Yeah, I do know Corcoran, yep.
30% increase.
Are they building a school or are they doing something big?
I don't know if that's maybe that's
a
part
water
of it.
park.
I have no idea, but I thought, wait a minute.
Maybe a mosque. Maybe they're building a big public mosque.
They might be, but
put that speaker in to do that. The calls to prayer. Maybe that's
what it is.
That's what it is.
But I saw that and I thought, okay, is this the sticker shock that's going to wake people up and say, well, the reason why this is happening is X, Y, and Z, and there's a number of us that have been complaining about this for years, and it'll be fine. It'll be okay.
I love it. Everybody moves their ass on Minneapolis because property taxes are too high. They get down to Corcoran, whatever that's called, and they're excited for 3 years, then all of a sudden, bam.
Then they get drilled.
Then they get hit.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden. So I had this theory, and I want you to help me work on this because we're not deep political thinkers. Right?
No, you could even remove the word political. I don't think we're deep thinkers.
Okay, there you go. So there was a time where people were embarrassed to say that their survival was based on government largesse, right? There was a time where if you were on food stamps, you kind of hid that, right? Then
I know exactly where you're going.
Comes along Barack Obama, and Barack Obama did something kind of brilliant. He said, let's put up billboards that say, serving 45 million Americans on SNAP, right?
Yep.
And all of a sudden it became like you get a little credit card now. You don't have to pull out a food stamp. You got a credit card, so no one can really see what you're doing, right? It's all done without the cashier really saying, oh, that's an EBT card.
Yep.
When did we get there? And when we got there and we got people so comfortable beyond the government dole, many of them need it, but when we got so comfortable that they ask for more and more and more. I go back to this Zoran Mandami in New York where he says, hey, I want to build a government grocery store. I hope he does, Reavers. And I hope at some point in time they say, oh, by the way, if you're on SNAP, this is the only grocery store you can use. And start having people on SNAP be forced to go to the government grocery store in New York. I'm just saying for New York, because that would be an interesting microcosmal test to see if people say, I'm not doing that anymore. I don't want that to be my grocery store. I need to get myself a better job. I need to save money. I need to maybe get rid of my addiction issues. I want to do something to advance myself. I don't want to be proud to be on SNAP anymore.
Did you hear my story the other day on Garage Logic? And it's okay if you did not, because it's worth repeating.
Sure.
I was also at a store. I was picking up a few items. This is, I want to say, a week, maybe 2 weeks ago, and not busy at all. The woman in front of me, I would guess early 50s ish, whatever. And she was there by herself, and I had, just maybe like $40 worth of stuff on the conveyor belt, right? And I wasn't really paying attention. I was maybe looking at my phone. I can't remember. And she put the card in the deal, and he says, "Oh, ma'am, you still owe $3.75, whatever it was. It was a minimal amount." And I'm thinking, "Oh, she must have used a gift card or something." Yeah. Well, I look, and it says EBT, and I'm like, "Oh, okay, whatever." Yeah. She pulls out a Black American Express Diamond card.
Are you kidding me?
To pay for the rest of it, and I went, "Huh?" And the cashier kind of glanced at me and kind of rolled her eyes, like, "Okay." And I just got curious.
Yeah.
And so she's gathering her things, putting it back in her cart. I would guess she probably had like $150 worth of stuff, right? Which these days isn't that much.
Like two bags of groceries. Right?
Yeah. But So as I'm walking out to the parking lot, I just kind of glanced to see what kind of vehicle she was getting in. She got into a Lexus.
A Lexus, wow.
And I thought, again, don't know the whole story.
You don't know. She could have been buying those groceries for her sister who is in need.
Exactly. She might. I have no idea what the story is, but I thought, I think we got a problem with the old program that we've established. And again, I have to say this every single time. We both understand the program is absolutely essential for a number of people. I get that.
We
totally.
don't want to shame people who need.
Of course
this.
not. Of course not.
Mine is not to shame people by saying, I want people to have pride if they can reverse.
Yeah.
If they can succeed in America, which the mathematics in America, you have a better chance succeeding here than anywhere else in the world.
And
right?
I when I mentioned that story on GL, I did get an email from somebody, and they made a decent point where it was almost like, well, if the program's available, why not take advantage of it? And I thought, but doesn't your subconscious just say, that's wrong? That program's designed. In other words,
it should be for the true needy.
And I guess to the emailer's point, it was almost like, well, the program's available, take advantage of it if you can.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, I kind of get that point of view, but really, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that means the program is too available, right? It might be too easy to get to. And mine is a philosophical change. But if I'm a man and I have a wife and a couple of kids, and I'm on the edge, and I maybe need it, maybe don't, is there a small percentage of me that says, I don't want to be the guy on food stamps?
For sure, yeah.
And I need to do something. I need to figure out how to get my wife a little job, or I need to work a little harder, or I need to load trucks overnight or do something, right?
Right, to get ahead.
To get ahead.
Yep.
Or do I say, I'm now on the government dole. I'm going to take that. Oh, I get $180 a year or a month for each one of my kids for SNAP. Oh, so I'm getting a few $100 for food. Boy, I can work a little bit less next week.
Yeah. And for me, I guess I just look at it as, well, okay, I understand it, and I get it that there are, especially this time of the year.
Yeah.
I know personally families that are really struggling, and they're worried about Christmas is coming up, and they got kids, and kids are active, and
it sucks.
It does.
It would suck.
It really does. And so I do have sympathy for those people that absolutely need those programs. But I'm just saying the problem that I continue to have is too many people are scamming us. We just talked about it in the first. I mean, there's just too much of that going on right now because of its availability. Because, again, I'm going to say this again, because we are ripe for the picking, and that's just unfortunate.
We're a very rich, generous nation that's $37 trillion in debt.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
At some point in time, we are going to have to make these tough choices to give the most needy more, maybe, and those that aren't needy, nothing. Right? And they will have to get off and get back onto it. I do know one thing, Reavers.
Tell me.
And I don't know if you know this, but you know that alligators can live for 100 years?
They can, huh?
Yeah, so the likelihood is pretty high that he will see you later. Reavers, you are the best.
Please do us a favor, rate and review the show. Oh, I forgot to mention this too, by the way. Our friends at Harmony Spirits down there in Harmony, Minnesota. You know what? That's a wonderful gift to bring.
Absolutely.
At a holiday gathering. And I did talk to our crew. I'm getting the caramel apple rum at my local liquor store.
Oh, that sounds good.
I was promised it's going to happen, and I really, really can't wait for that to happen. But here's the thing. If you're available, people are going to be traveling this time of the year. A little dicey on the roads the next couple of days. But you know what? Stop in at that tasting room. Say hi to Larry and Damon and the entire Harmony Spirits crew. Let them know that we sent you. But what you can really do to help them continue to grow their brand is go into your local liquor store and ask for the Harmony Spirits brand by name. You just heard from Mike in the previous segment. You know what? The consumer has so much power in that regard. And if you say you're going to buy it, guess what? They're going to put it on the shelves.
Yeah, ask for it, then buy it.
Yes.
You got to do both.
You got to do both. But it doesn't matter. The gin, the rum, the vodka, the bourbon, it's all wonderful stuff, and it's made right here in the great state of Minnesota from grain to glass. They are the absolute best, and we love our friends at Harmony Spirits and harmonyspirits.net, and their Facebook page is Harmony Spirits Distillery. They do a really cool job of updating upcoming events and things like that. So please do that for us as well.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Michael. You do the same.
Thank you.
Please do us a favor, rate and review the show wherever you happen to be listening, the Weekly Scramble podcast. It helps other people find the show, and it helps us out as well. His name is Mike Fratelloni. My name is Chris Reavers. Thank you so much for listening to the Weekly Scramble podcast. Happy Thanksgiving to each and every one of you. We'll talk to you again next time. Until then, cheers.